Welcome to Coach Grid. Today we are going to be talking about building a system that's unique to you, but that's also scalable, that you'll be able to grow your business within. So in that conversation, really wanted to start by talking about you as an individual. And this is something that you and I have both experienced a lot, and where we probably spent the majority of our time as we were building coaching practices was the first idea of your own core philosophies, your own core standard. And the way that we do this with clients is we have them come to us and tell us a story. And it's really a beautiful experience when they get to start telling the experience of their life, the story of their life. And from that, we pick out the things that have been most impactful for them.
Yeah.
Because sometimes maybe they don't see it. They don't give themselves enough credit as to how amazing some of their experiences really are.
Yeah. And we started doing the story first because we used to say, okay, who's your ideal client? What's your business? And we get all this business framework in, and then we're like, okay, and now tell us your story. And they're telling us the story, and we're like, those don't line up. Like, why is that your business? Like, your magic is right here. And every time their jaw is just on the floor, they're crying and they're like, you're right. I've been trying to figure that out for years, but yeah, that's it.
Well, again, that's where you and I were in that same place. When you're trying to start a business and you start a business that makes the most sense, logically, it's the one that people say, you should go do this thing. You think, oh, okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
And then you try to fit yourself inside of your business. And being able to shift that has made all the difference for so many people that we work with. You find your story, you find who you are, you start identifying your core philosophies, and then you build on top of that. It's an absolute game changer.
Yeah. I had a mentor, Steven Jaggers, and he always says, it doesn't have to make sense if it makes sensation. And I think especially in a lot of coaching practices are very passion driven. And so it's like dropping into more of your emotion in your body. And does this feel really good? As much as it makes sense, does it make sensation?
Yeah. Love that. The analogy that I always use, the example that I use, just because it's so prevalent, is even in Christianity, right? With Jesus Christ, they said, hey, what are you about? What's most important? And he was able to say, love God, love your neighbor as yourself. That was his core philosophy. That was the standard. And then everything he did on top of that reflected that core standard.
Yeah.
So for me, when I was working more specifically with men and coaching men, I had the same thing. I had the standards that we worked on and that we worked in. And that was a beautiful way for me to be able to establish myself within the business. So the second thing after that is setting policies. And that sounds kind of boring. Another word for that really could be boundaries or even standards. That when you're setting up your business and you're trying to determine how you're going to interact with clients, how you're going to serve them, how you're going to provide them with value. I remember for myself, I was saying, okay, it's a 12-week program. And I had some people that were like, oh, okay, I have unlimited access to you for the next 12 weeks. And I had to really learn quickly how to set boundaries and policies that was going to support them, but also create something sustainable for me.
Right.
So
yeah.
That changed a lot that way.
That is. And I always love, if you want to share a little bit about your boundaries versus standards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boundaries to me are more temporary. And in a lot of different places, you'll hear people, I need to set a boundary. I needed to set a boundary, but it never lasts. Standards are the things that last. Standards are more like your core philosophies, but as your business continues to grow, your policies almost become some of your standard. And so all of this for somebody that's brand new, again, might seem kind of overwhelming, but it's just asking yourself the questions. If I interact with clients, how am I going to do that? If they're interacting with each other, what do I want to create there for that to be a safe environment? If they're interacting with me online, how am I going to do that? How am I going to deliver my messages? Having that clarity builds something so sustainable for you in the future. And most coaches miss that when they're getting started.
Yeah. So something that comes up for me around this, and it came up a lot more before, but I know it also comes up with a lot of our clients, is, well, what if I work with everybody differently. And what if sometimes I am okay giving an extra hour because that's what that client needs, but sometimes, it does need to be more structured. How do you recommend creating a standard that is flexible when you're flexible as a coach and as a person?
Right. There's the term, an exception to the rule. Having an exception to the rule requires a rule. So when you set that rule, you then can say, I'm going to make an exception in this case for whatever reason. But again, then you're aware that you're doing it. And if you haven't set a rule, if you haven't set a standard, people are going to walk all over you and take way more than you're willing to give. And then you have to backtrack. And it's really different when they're getting 8, 9, 10 hours of access to you every week. And you say all of a sudden, hey, this is going down to just 1. And that can really cause some dissonance with clients at that point in time.
Right. It's a lot easier to say, hey, you get an extra 30 minutes than, hey, we're going backwards. People don't like to go backwards. They'd rather be surprised and excited that there's more.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In that same vein, we talk about culture. Mm-hmm. Culture's personality. Some people, as they set up their practice, they're very adventurous. Some are very playful. Some are very serious. And I remember for myself, I'm probably more serious. I have a playful side, but I'm more serious.
No way.
And when I would meet clients and there would be a client that was more playful or just didn't vibe with really my culture of who I am, at that point in time, I was operating from this idea of, well, I have to take any client. Mm-hmm. I have to be willing to work with anybody. So again, I was compromising and changing who I was to try and fit that person. You can do that for a while and then it exhausts you. So again, getting ahead of these things and saying, this is the type of person, not just how old they are or what they're about, but even just the vibe and the culture that you want to have in your business is really valuable for the sustainability of it.
Yeah. And I think that makes me realize I am not very serious. I'm very playful. And I'm like, let's go lay in the grass while we talk about this. And, so I think when you have your own standard and you know what that is for yourself, it also makes it really clear where you want to bring in support. Like when you're going to make that first hire or you're going to partner with somebody, knowing, hey, I want to bring this element in, and you know exactly what you're looking for. Because I know like with our clients, we'll be off, in that playful land and we are like, yeah, this is really great. We're solid. And then we come back and you're like, so we still don't have a business plan. This isn't going to make you money. It's really fun. But at the end of the day, that's what coaches are generally wanting to do. They want to make some money doing the thing they love, but you need to have both sides.
Yeah. You're surrounding yourself with people that can support it requires you to know who you are.
Yeah.
So perfect. Beautifully said. In that same path, being able to map the transformation process for your clients. Oftentimes we'll have people come in, they say, I'm a coach. I've been coaching for 5 years. We'll say, okay, what is your process? And they don't have one. It is very just gut feel. It's taking it day by day, week by week. And you can do it that way. But if you have the intention to be able to grow and scale your business one day and you're necessitated in that space, can't happen. Your only option for growing your business is charging more money or working more hours. Mm-hmm. So while it can be difficult, and this is where we do a really good job of pulling it out of the story, is identifying what is that path of transformation, right? So that they can duplicate it and they can start even helping other people get certified in it if they have an assistant or another coach that they hire in the process.
Yeah, I think that's also important when it comes to marketing and sales. When you're first starting out, there's a lot more organic. You're actually talking to people, so you can drop in at that person's level and, kind of meet them where they're at. And it can be flexible, but if you ever want to start reaching a wider audience, you can't talk to each person on your Instagram or your YouTube and say, okay, for you and you and you. So I think having that standardized process, there's a term that I can't remember what the term is, but it's basically taking a really abstract concept, which transformation can be something that's not tangible. You don't have like a product in your hands. But when you have that framework and you're able to explain it in that way, it makes it more real and actually increases conversions and sales.
Absolutely. And that leads really well into the next thing I was going to talk about, which is taking a tool and making it your own. Mm-hmm. So there are all kinds of practices and routines and activities and actions that coaches will have their clients take that can be generic. And when you can take that and customize it to you, because you've identified your culture, because you've identified your policies, because you've identified your core principles, you then customize that to you. And that really adds to that tangible creation. So if I have something and I'm saying, hey, we're going to work through this and then this and then this and then this, that's one thing. But if I say, here's the 5-step system that's called ... now they know what that is. And that feels a lot better to be moving through that in a measurable way, tangible way. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, in sales, it's great to be able to, as you're talking to somebody and they're talking about a pain point, say, you know what? Week 3, this is actually exactly what we cover, and to have a reference in your own mind that you can consistently use to help people see exactly why this is the fit for them.
Yeah. Going back to those first points, I think one of the reasons a lot of people haven't built this as coaches is because they try to customize a program to every person that they meet. Now, if I have a system and it's a 5-part system and I meet with somebody that doesn't resonate with that system, there is an inclination like, okay, well, I'll custom build you something. Again, we're talking about scalability. We're talking about something that you're going to be able to move through sustainably in your life. And if you're having to custom build everything, that's just not going to happen. So that's a challenge for a lot of coaches. Go back, put down on a piece of paper, who do I work with? And what is the system that I take them through? And have the courage to say, this is what I do. If it doesn't fit you, that's okay. It fits a lot of other people that I love working with.
Yeah, that makes me think of the ironic thing is a lot of times when we get really clear, we'll pull in people that you would never expect. And the best example of that I could ever give is when I decided to niche down my coaching business to like girls. It was pink, it was flowers, like all the reels I was making, it was just completely, I was like, I'm going after a very specific girl. And the second I released that week, I had 4 men reach out to me and say, hey, what are you doing? And I was like, where have you been? And why is this the marketing that's pulling you in? But it was the certainty and the energy and the confidence to say, you know what, this is me. And it pulled in all kinds of people, not just the people that I thought I would be attracting.
Yeah. I think in that vein, a lot of people, when you have a system and they see the success that other people are having, they're more willing to fit themselves into your system rather than having to be the other way around. And a big part of being a coach is that, whether it's a coach in mindset or business or health or sports, everybody has their philosophies and the way they teach to do something. And that might differ from somebody else's, but that's okay. You have your thing. That's really important. That's going to actually give you notoriety over time. In that same place, continuing to weave in your story more and more through this entire process. Oftentimes there's been this idea for a long time that you need to make the client the focal point in your marketing. And we find ourselves in this really interesting time. I was talking to a buddy of mine and he used the term trust recession. So even when you build all of this stuff and you're out and you're doing it, there's a recession with trust, and it's because of AI to a certain point. And it's also because there is so much out there. Yeah. And so the more that you're able to weave in your story, the more willing you are to tell your story, the more it builds credibility. Right. Not just for the program, but for the person that's running the program. Now, if you're going to hire somebody else eventually, do you need to build in their story too? No, it's still your story. It's still your framework. And you're finding people that work well inside of that. But giving yourself permission to say, this is what I went through. And I went through it for 10 years. For some people, they might feel some shame around that. They might be able to be tempted to say, well, I need to tell them I went through that for 10 days. Right. But when you tell the real story, you find the real people that will resonate with that. And again, speaking from experience, that's what gives you energy when you're coaching versus what takes away is when the people know who you are and they want that version of you. So the weaving in the story has been obviously crucial in what we build for clients when they want to build a full business. with their coaching practice.
Yeah.
I love being able to do that. And I love being able to hear those stories. And every time we've met with somebody and this, I don't have a story, or it's not that special. And you're drilling them. You're almost interrogating them. Like, give me something real, give me the thing. And then finally they do. And I didn't feel the emotion hitting right now because it hits.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. Here's the power.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that's really going to drive people into what you're doing and drive the transformation process too.
Well, I remember the first time that I started introducing this kind of concept to you, and I was like, I've got to get your story, because I'd been having just success after success with different people, and you kind of had your tried and true, and it was doing well, on podcasts and different places. And I was like, I want you to give me something more real. Like, what are you going through right now? And you were like, no, and you just kept trying to skirt around it. And we were sitting there, and finally you just let it all out, and it was completely unfiltered and messy, and there was emotion there. And I created a post from it, and I showed you, and you were like, and you posted it, and it was the biggest response you'd ever gotten.
Yeah. And growing from there has been amazing.
Yeah.
It is. It can be very uncomfortable. It can be uncomfortable to let that side of yourself be seen, especially when you're trying to present yourself as, again, a professional, as the one that's helping others. But it's the resume. It's being able to say, I truly have been there.
Yeah. And I'm here right now.
Yeah.
And this is how I lead from it. I think a lot of people are like, okay, this is going to be a really great story in a few years when I'm past it. And there's even people that say, speak from the scar, not the wound. But as far as your body can do it and you can speak from the wound and say, hey, ideal client, I'm going through the exact same thing, but I'm not crumbling, and I'm not in my bed. I'm not scrolling. I'm not, hiding. I'm not delaying my launch. I'm launching, and it's messy. And this is how you do it. I'm going to show you, and I'm going to be here to pull you up to as we go through this together.
Yeah. Love that. Last point in this process, once you've built all of this, you know what you're about. You know the way that you can share that. You know why it's built the way that it's built. You know how it's going to scale. A lot of people have a tendency to want to refine it really, really soon. And they put it out there for a week and they say, okay, here's the thing. And it's kind of like this, it's kind of like fly fishing, where you throw that bait in the water for half of a second and you see if you get a hit. And if you don't, you whip it right back away just as quickly. And you keep doing that, and well, I'm going to try different bait. And then you revamp the whole thing, throw it in there. That's not the way that this works well. This is more traditional fishing. You build it, you do the research, you spend the time, then you put it on the line and you put it out there, and you leave it out there for a while. It might not work exactly the way that you want it. And that's important, because the feedback that you're getting, the refinement process that you're able to go through there, magnifies the story. It starts working as a megaphone, because you see more and more the pieces that really are resonating, and you can scrape everything else away.
Right. And I would say that process of leaving it out there and getting the feedback, especially when it's not working, is one of the most valuable things, even more than a success, because success shows you it's working to this level, but the feedback process actually lets you go deeper into why and who really am I, and helps you really dig deep. So those are precious times that I think a lot of people try to just skip. But when you get the success, you look back and realize that really was one of the coolest parts.
Yeah. The last thing to say, there are a lot of coaching certifications out there. There are a lot of people out there saying, this is the system. And oftentimes when we've got that certification, when we've got the thing, we really spend a lot of our time and effort as coaches trying to make that work, because it's what we learned. It's what somebody else told us would work, because it's worked for them. Being able to build this for yourself takes some upfront effort. And a big, big part of this is, as you build it, it's a vulnerable place. It can feel very vulnerable, being that authentic and being that real. And the most vulnerable part is, once it's built, is being willing to go out and ask people, is this valuable? is this something that you're interested in? Is this something that would resonate with you? Because for me, the first time that I built my program, I made a lot of assumptions as to what would work and what wouldn't.
Yeah.
And then finally, when I went and started talking to people and said, do you want this? Not really, right? Like my mom told me it was great. The people that were closest to me were like, oh, that's brilliant. That's going to do so well.
Yeah.
But when I started talking to the actual clientele, that market research is invaluable in this process. So when you get through all of that, go talk to people about it. Put it out to places, the people that aren't invested in you emotionally, they're willing to say something about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you for being here with Coach Grit today, talking about systems and the way to build a system that includes you in it, but also allows some sustainability. If you found resonance with this, if it's something that you feel like helped you, and if you want further help with it, you can go find us at Coach Grit on Instagram or at coachgrit.com.